And so all of a sudden, I was being haunted by all of these choices that I had made in the past. This is Gene Monterestelli. Welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast, recorded live to tape from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 231, originally aired July 27th, 2016. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to listen to this. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Today, we're going to spend some time tapping around, dealing with bad choices we've made in the past and how we can feel a prisoner to those choices in impacting us in this moment and impacting us as we move forward. As a reminder, over at Tapping Q&A, we have for you an absolutely free 10-part guide, how you can use tapping to stop self-sabotage and to get out of your own way. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. Every few days you receive a new email that will have some tapping scripts and audio, some videos, some instructions. So little by little, you're going to allow yourself to transform and move forward. The reason why we don't give you all 10 steps all at once is I want to give you enough that you can move forward and be useful and not overwhelm you so that it's easy each time a new email comes that you can try it right then and there and allow yourself to move forward. So a couple of days ago, I was poking around on Facebook like I do, and as I was scrolling down, there's a little section, I don't know if you noticed this in your timeline, but there's a section of people you might know, and it'll show you 3 pictures with names under them, and then you can click on the right arrow, and more will slide over, and it will show you the picture, it'll show you their name, and then underneath it, it will show you the number of people, the number of friends that you have in common. And I'm always just kind of interested in that, just to see how connected we are in the world, because I have multiple facets to my life. It's not just this work that I do with tapping, but it's the university I went to, it's the state of Wyoming that I grew up in, it's the other work that I've been doing in Catholic youth ministry for almost 2 decades. So I have all of these different worlds, and I always find it fascinating to see how these worlds overlap, and I find someone and I go, oh my gosh, you know this person and this person. So I was down there, and I was looking at all of those names, and I noticed something really interesting. There were a number of photos of women who I vaguely recognized. I didn't immediately recognize their names, and they didn't say we had any friends in common. And I thought that was curious, that Facebook was recommending me connect with these people who I don't really know, and we have no obvious connection. So being the computer scientist that I am, I thought, well, let me take a look at these profiles and see what's going on. And what I realized as I started looking at the profiles and looking at multiple pictures of the people and descriptions of the people, I started to notice that they all lived in New York City. So we at least had that in common. And then I realized that these were all women who I had connected with on an online dating app more than a year ago. And that particular online dating app required you to log in with Facebook, and it pulled pictures from your Facebook feed as an easy way for you to populate your profile. And so, for whatever reason, Facebook was now using this information, and it said that we might know each other. And some of them I'd gone on a couple of dates with, and some of them I just chatted with, and we never connected. But as I was looking at these pictures, there was this just rush of emotion. Some of the emotion was around people I had spent some time with that were pretty cool, and it was disappointing that things did not continue any further than they did. Other circumstances, it was with people where it didn't necessarily end as well as I'd like, and part of that was because of the choices that I made and the way that I dealt with those people. And so all of a sudden, I was being haunted by all of these choices that I had made in the past and all of these people that I might not have treated as charitably, as kindly as I would have liked. Now, I was never malicious, but that's still no excuse for simply disappearing on people, because I know how painful that can be, and knowing that I made choices like that simply out of fear and concern and not wanting to say, hey, this isn't working. And so all of that stuff was brought to Front Street. So as that happened, what I did was I fired my computer up, or I fired the audio recording software that I'm using right now up, and I decided I needed to tap. So just like last week, where I shared with you a little bitterness and embarrassment, this is me just taking some time tapping along to struggling with being a prisoner to the choices I made in the past and the penalties I feel for that and my inability to move forward. If you did not take the time to listen to episode 230, where I tapped on the embarrassment and the bitterness, I would really encourage you to go back and do that. The feedback I received, it was the most emails and comments that I've received on anything I've posted in over 2 years. And even when I realized it was the most, it was still at a time where it had about one half the number of downloads that a podcast would have at that point in the normal publication cycle. So fewer people had listened to it because it sounded a little too personal, I think. And the people who listened to it got a lot out of it. So this isn't something that we're going to do every single week, and this isn't what the podcast is turning into. I am in the process of doing a number of really amazing interviews. I have 5 of them just this week. And it's a number of them are voices that you haven't heard before. So those are coming very, very soon. But again, just a little tapping for you. Before we do that tapping, I want to remind you that the Tapping Q&A podcast is sponsored by Pain Relief Miracle. Pain Relief Miracle is an all-natural spray that was created by Chinese medicine practitioner Jason Laird. He was looking for something to help his mom manage her arthritis pain. The medical stuff that she was being prescribed smelled nasty and gross and wasn't actually doing anything. So he found all-natural ingredients that provided relief that she was not getting from something that was coming out of a tube. It works for scrapes, cuts. I've used it for sunburns, cuts on my face because I'm bad at shaving. Animals can use it because it is all natural. I was just thinking about some ranchers who were really into it because it was taking care of the hooves on their horses. And if you can take Chinese medicine stuff to a bunch of ranchers in Wyoming and they like it, you know that it's good. You can get $20 off your first order by simply going to tappingqa.com/pain. And remember, the reason why we have a sponsorship for the podcast is so we can keep bringing you this amazing audio absolutely free of charge. If you haven't done so, dip back into our archive, tappingqapodcast.com, where we are closing in on 300 audios between full episodes, double episodes, bonus episodes. It's not just the 231 episodes that we are at right now. There's other great free audio there. So without further ado, here is me from early Monday morning, tapping away, trying to clear my crap. Tap on the side of the hand and take a nice big deep breath. Keep tapping on the side of the hand. Take another nice deep breath. And one more deep breath. Simply move from tapping point to tapping point in the order that makes the most sense, repeating after me. I recognize the fact there are choices that I've made that I am not happy with. There are choices that I've made that I am embarrassed by. There are choices that I've made that were just simply wrong. And I know every choice I have ever made impacts this moment, has created this moment. And there is a part of me that feels imprisoned and trapped by those choices in this moment. And I know that the past has informed this moment. The past has created this moment. But my past choices do not determine where I go next. My past choices are not my destiny. The choices I've made in the past were the best choices I could have made in that moment. Based on the information I had and the resource state that I was in that moment. Even if a split second later, I realized it was the wrong choice, it was the best I could do in that moment. And I give myself permission to know I am allowed to release that. There is a part of me that believes the moment I am living in is my just reward for my poor choices. Since it is the consequences of my choices, the penalty it has produced is something that I must endure. It is only right that I stay stuck in this spot because I made those bad choices. But I give myself permission to know that that is not true. Regardless of what has come before this moment, regardless of the choices I have made in the past, I am allowed to create a new moment and a new trajectory. I give myself permission to know I am allowed to forgive myself for my past choices. When I forgive myself, I am not saying I am forgetting. When I forgive myself, I am not saying I did not learn from the past. When I forgive myself, I am not saying I stopped taking responsibility. When I forgive myself, I'm not saying it was the right choice. When I forgive myself, I'm not saying I would do it again. When I forgive myself, I am saying that I acknowledge the past. I take responsibility for my choices. I learn the lessons from that moment. And I choose to no longer be emotionally stuck in the past. It does not serve me. And it does not serve anyone else in this world for me to be stuck in these past choices. I am allowed to release. I am allowed to let go. to see myself in a new way, and to create a new place to stand as I create a new moment. So there you go. That is me tapping away, dealing with my issues of being stuck in the past. I hope that was useful for you. If it was, go back, play it again. Do the tapping right now. Put it someplace where you will remember to go back to it again and again. Also, make sure that you step into the Tapping Q&A podcast archives. Like I said at the beginning, we are closing in on 300 audios over there between the full episodes, the double episodes, the bonus episodes, and a number of other things that are just sprinkled in there. Simply go to tappingqa.com. If you have not done so already, download the Tapping Q&A app. It's available both on Android and iOS. You can put it on tablets. You can put it on smartphones. I just received an email from someone yesterday who was talking about how wonderful it was that she had the app loaded on her phone and that she could take the audios with her everywhere she went. And it was super easy to access everything from the past. When something came up, she would just scroll through the list, pick the audio, and could listen to it right then and there. You can find the podcast in iTunes. You can find it at TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud. We're now posting episodes over at YouTube. You can find it in the Google Music Play Store. As of this moment, I just checked. We are still currently the #1 podcast when it comes to EFT and tapping in the Google Music Play Store, because we are still the only podcast around tapping in the Google Play Store. So it's nice to be #1 at something. If you have a question, if you have a comment, please drop me a note. You can always email me directly at Gene, Gene, at tappingqa.com. You can click on the contact link up above. You can, inside of the app, click on the contact section. You can leave me a voicemail. You can send me an email. And as I've mentioned before, in August, we're doing an all question and answer podcast where I answer your questions. I've already received a number of really awesome questions. But if you have a question you'd like answered about tapping, no matter how big, no matter how small, just go to tappingqa.com/ask, ASK, and you'll have the opportunity to either leave me a voice memo or send me an email so I can answer your question. For the Tapping Q&A podcast, this is Gene Montrestelli. I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye. The Tapping Q&A podcast is copyright Gene Montrestelli, Tapping Q&A 2016. All views expressed by guests are those of the guests and not necessarily of Gene Montrestelli or Tapping Q&A.